The team's general manager has now stepped down. MC5's
All right, let's do it. Welcome back, everybody, to the third edition of the Coyote Corner. I am your host, Luke, co-host in the bottom left, Ray. We are so excited to get into this today. We've got two guests on the show today. Bailey from Hawks Talk, Chicago Blackhawks fan, as you can see. We've got Alex from Chirpin Yote up there going to join us today as well. We've got a pretty exciting game today. I call it kind of the battle of the basement, battle of the two worst teams in the NHL this year. Arizona 1-11-1 moving into this contest. Chicago 3-9-2. Being played in Chicago tonight, 8:30 Eastern Time, puck drop on ESPN Plus Hockey Night. Should be a fun game. So we're going to swing right into this, guys. We've got four people in this chat. Arizona fans everywhere. We've got one lone Chicago fan, which is where I'm going to start. Bailey, I want to hear kind of what you think. I know we had the podcast earlier. I was happy to join your podcast. What are your keys to victory tonight for the Blackhawks? What do you look forward to in this game?
What I look forward to is just Blackhawks getting together, playing better defense in the third period. I've noticed the last two games, Derek King being a new interim head coach, that they've changed things on the defensive side of the puck. Last game against the Penguins, they kind of let it down in the third period, allowed the Penguins to score 2, ended up going to a shootout. Really, it's just, getting that third period defense back together and also the offensive side of the puck as well. A lot of missed opportunities on the offensive side, hitting the post, missing the puck, wide open shots. I think the Blackhawks are getting more offensive opportunities than Arizona, of course, but I think we just need to capitalize more on the offensive side in order to win tonight.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, you guys squeaked out a victory over Nashville 2-1, shootout victory over Pittsburgh last game 3-2. So it seems like Derek King's getting things rolling in Chicago a little bit, more so than they were. They're still kind of bottom of the league, bottom in the category in offense, 30th in shots on goal, shot percentage. So not looking so good on offense still, but stats are trending upwards for you guys. So I'm going to swing it over to Alex. They call him Statman Grandy, or what is it? It's Grandy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Statman Grandy over on Chirpin Yote. So I know he knows his stuff. Alex, what are we looking forward to tonight? What do you think we can improve on moving into Chicago? Some keys to victory tonight for the Coyotes to maybe come out of Chicago with a win.
Well, I mean, we've all talked about penalties and defensive zone lapses as the Coyotes. But to me, our biggest issue with those two is the fact that we can't generate anything in the offensive end. We've had, I can count on one hand the amount of sustained offensive pressure shifts we had in the Minnesota game. That's going to lead to long shifts. It's going to lead to a lot of chasing the puck, and that's going to lead to defensive lapses, and that's going to lead to penalties. We got to find a way to get in there on the forecheck early, attack early, and attack the Blackhawks and what has been a relatively weak defensive team so far. Derek King has improved it noticeably in the games he's been there, but the defense has still been the Blackhawks' biggest weakness, especially with all the skill they have up front with Patty Kane, Alex DeBrincat, Kirby Dach. You can go on with their superstars. So, like I said, just attack that defense, get them reeling that way, and then I think we have a good chance of coming away with some points tonight if we can do that.
I do too. I mean, Chicago scoring 2.1 goals a game, which is the lowest amount in the whole Western Conference. So obviously offense being a big issue for us, as you just said. 4 minutes into the Wild game, get our first tripping penalty, seemed to just halt any momentum we might have had in that whole game. 3 power play goals. One was on a delayed penalty. I consider it pretty much the same the concept there. Got to keep ourselves out of the box. I'm totally with you. It seems like every single chance we have to gain some sort of momentum going forward, it's a penalty. It's a dumb penalty. The 5-on-3 that netted Minnesota a goal. That second back end of that penalty was something we just didn't need. It made no sense. It was out of place. It was reckless. So the penalties for us, we mentioned it on his podcast earlier. I think if we can come in and we can, obviously being the most penalized team in the Western Conference, if we can come in and play a clean game or a more clean game and keep our guys 5-on-5 against a Chicago team who in the NHL is the worst team 5-on-5 statistically, I think we have a chance to maybe keep this game close going into the third and capitalize on their struggle that's going on right now with being able to finish games. Ray, I'll let you kind of move in, man. Obviously big news, Wedgwood getting the start tonight over the Milkman. So big news. I'll let you kind of go into that a little bit.
Yeah, so that's kind of been my topic too the last couple of times is the goalie circus that we kind of have going on around our team right now with the Milkman and Wedgwood. And we did just get Wedgwood off waivers not too long ago. In the last 2 games, he has came in for Milkman. Milkman is doing good, but kind of like we said, we get ourselves in trouble. We get in the box a lot, and you can't have that. And a lot of these 5-and-4s, they're just killing him more than him on himself. As you can tell, the last few games, the Wild game definitely, because that last game, we had 2 back-to-back penalties right off the bat, and that's not going to help a rookie goalie with any kind of confidence that we need him to have going forward. So tonight, like we said, when we found out the news with Wedgwood, I was actually pretty excited because I've seen him play. I've seen him grow up through the AHL. Love this guy. I think he was a huge pickup. I love Wedgwood. I love the tandem that we have going on with both of them. I think it's going to be a great tandem. I love the veteran.
Might have cut out there.
It was like it's cutting out.
I'm cutting out a little bit. Anyways, yeah, I mean, obviously the tandem with Wedgwood, Milkman, pretty interesting moving forward. It's good to have a veteran presence in the locker room with so many rookies in it and a rebuilding team in general. Another veteran that I think needs to step up in this space is Phil Kessel. Last game against the Wild, relatively just a non-factor on and off the ice all year, really. So Chikrin hasn't netted a goal yet this year. 1 assist in Seattle, 1 point on the year. Really slow year for a guy who's been outstanding for Arizona pretty much his whole career. Starting off on a really slow note. Seemed like things picked up a little bit for him in the Wild game. Seeing some shots on net for him, not on net, but on goal for him. Seeming to gain a little bit of confidence in that area. Alex, what are you looking for moving forward with our stars on this team? With Kessel, obviously Ghost is having a wonderful year. The value we got in him from Philadelphia is just undescribable. But with Chikrin and some of these guys that should be playing bigger roles this year, what do you look for in them to kind of take the next step forward in helping this team through this rebuild and through this year?
Well, Keller is one for me. I thought he was having a really strong start to the year. You're noticing him on the forecheck. You notice him creating plays. And then the last 3 games now, I think, he's been invisible. You barely seen him. You barely heard him. He needs to get back to whatever he was doing at the start of the season. The stats weren't coming, but it was some of the best hockey he's played in his career. And the stats, they're not going to be there for a lot of the Coyotes with just the overall shape of this team. So if he can get back to playing like that, I think that's going to be a really strong thing going forward. With Kessel, he's here to be a power play specialist. We really need him there. He needs to pick it up there. He needs to get us going again. It's just, he's been streaky offensively. He's been almost a non-factor 5-on-5, like you said. It's just something out of him on the power play, especially, would be really nice.
It would, especially us being one of the worst power play teams in the NHL, getting nothing done. I totally agree with you. Moving to Chikrin this year, slow year. Do you think that's something to be concerned about moving forward, or you think it's just a slow start? I know a lot of fans out there are a little bit worried. Had a good first 3-4 years, and then this year it just seems like he just cannot find his groove. I mean, what do you think he can do to move his train a little bit forward this year and kind of get back on track a little bit?
I would say there's a slight cause for concern because we have seen this with OEL in the past. But at the same time, you really started to see him come on as of late. I think he had, 4 shots on goal in the Wild game.
Good ones.
I have the game before that, and he's had several shot attempts. One of the big things I've noticed this year is he's not hitting the net as much as he was. So if he can get in, maybe he needs to get in closer, creep up in the play a little bit to get some of those shots actually on net. That might get him going. Aside from that, the other thing that I've really noticed is he's struggling defensively. It seems like when we have a bad defensive lapse, his pairing out there, and he's got to focus. I think he's trying to do too much himself. I think he's taking the pressures of being a leader on this team too hard. And I think he just needs to relax, play a more simplistic game, and go back to what made him great last year. That's really about all I have to say on that.
Absolutely. Looking forward to, obviously a lot of people out calling it the tank season, which, obviously it is and has been and continue down the road. It will be. But the 2022 draft is looking really good for us. 12 selections. I think we've got 3 first-rounders, 5 second-round picks, an opportunity to grab Shane Wright off the board at 1. DG Dylan is looking excellent. Do you have some positivity, some optimism moving forward for this team? Maybe not in the next 5 years, but in the next 2 to 3 years with the draft class that we'll have coming in next year. Some really great prospects in our farm that are proving to be what could be potential future franchise players. Where do you see this team heading? Do you like the direction this rebuild is moving in? I feel like it's good to see us committing to the rebuild fully for once. But do you feel like this rebuild is in the place it needs to be?
I do feel like it's in the place it needs to be. This is something that was coming whether or not we made these trades. We were stuck in perpetual mediocrity, essentially. We were always battling for that last playoff spot, but never good enough to really take it. We just need more skill. We need more talent, and the best way to get that is through the draft. Hopefully Chikrin, Keller, hopefully these guys don't lose too much of their game or get upset through this and they stay in it. But the bulk of this team is going to come through our prospects and our draft picks. Yeah. Even if we miss out and lose a lottery and don't get Shane Wright next year, there is a lot of really good draft. I recommend anybody watching this to read up on the draft next year. There's some real bright spots or two. And then a guy that doesn't get as much talk, even with his last name, Josh Stone is off to an incredible start in the NCAA. Yes. Last I saw, he is still leading all freshmen in assists and was second in freshmen in points. He's an incredible start on what's been a decently good ASU team. Yeah. So you have that to look forward to, and then Dylan Gunther. Guy looks like a future superstar. I don't think there's anything to say about him right now.
Oh, the kid's so exciting to watch. I feel like every night I see somebody and it's a retweet, a DG goal or something that is every single night I'm seeing this kid's name in the news.
Wasn't our first night we were talking about him? He scored like 2 goals that night or something.
Yeah, it was like 30 minutes after we mentioned his name. I was like, it's fitting. Bailey, I'm gonna go back to you here, man. Obviously Chicago, much needed win here against a team, honestly, that you guys should pick up a win against. Some cause for concern a little bit. Obviously, Arizona is not a team you want to lose to this year, especially with a team that's trying to rebuild their brand this year with a new coach, with a lot of the off-ice issues you guys have been presented with this year. Most of the NHL, quite frankly, hates you and your team right now. I know a lot of Arizona fans do. I myself, I do not like the Blackhawks. at all whatsoever. Nothing against you guys, but what direction do you want to see your team moving in? Not necessarily just this game, but moving on through the rest of the year with the new coach, trying to battle through some of these off ice issues, and kind of get the wits back, because you guys, your lineup needs to be in the playoffs. There's no reason you guys should be sitting at 3-9 right now. So your thoughts on how your team can get a little bit better moving forward?
First of all, like Alex said, we gotta stay consistent on the defensive side of the puck. Haven't been really consistent these past few games, but it really did show against the Penguins. But just the third period is what I'm concerned about, is just got to stay consistent on the defensive side. Other than that, we've really been unlucky. I've been saying this a lot. Unlucky with shots off the post and stuff. It seems like Patrick Kane is not really having his good start right now, but he's also getting his teammates involved, which I'm happy to see. He's been getting DeBrincat involved and stuff like that. And,
DeBrincat looks real good.
Right. Yeah. Leading the team in goals, I believe, 7. Other than that, I really think just staying consistent on the defensive side of the puck, and then finishing shots on the offensive side, and just not missing wide open, like nobody around them, missing the puck. Just can't do that.
Yeah, I saw a couple. I know I was watching that Blackhawks game, and I just see a shot after shot just missed on an opposite side off the goalie, just wide open net,
wide open,
smoking them, dude. But I mean, with the firepower and the players you have on your team, I wouldn't have figured that the Blackhawks would be at the bottom of the league with us this year. But here we are, battle of the basement.
Right.
Friday night game. It's going to be big. It's obviously hockey night on ESPN Plus. Yeah. Don't know how many people are going to show up for Chicago tonight, but I do think this game has the potential to be really close, a really fun game to watch if Arizona shows up and plays a disciplined game. So I'm going to move right in. I think we'll go ahead and I'll start with Ray. Predictions for tonight: Blackhawks, Coyotes. Your keys to success. Score. Shoot it.
All right. So like I said earlier, again, thanks Bailey for having us on your talk earlier. But like I went into earlier with Bailey is I think this game has a lot of feeling of kind of what we witnessed in Seattle, our first home game in Seattle. I think this is gonna be we're gonna have to keep up with Chicago type deal here, because obviously, like we've all said, we struggled in the box. I do think Chicago will get their opportunities. But with Wedgwood in goal, I think we're going to see a lot more stops. I don't think we're going to see a bunch of goals, but I do, like you said, the over-under was like 5.5. Yeah. I think I'm going to go on the over side of it. I'm going to pick a 5-4 Yotes tonight.
5-4 Coyotes. Bailey, let's swing it over to you, man.
The way I see it tonight, Arizona, last game, 36-22 on faceoffs. Didn't really do much with the puck, and also with their power play, 0 for 3. Blackhawks do have an 89% power play kill. So I believe that Blackhawks ain't going to really have too much trouble with the Arizona Coyotes. But if the Arizona Coyotes play like they did against the Kraken, then it's going to be a really close game. But like I said before, you just got to stay consistent. So I really don't think Arizona's to that point right now to where you know they're going to be consistent. So I feel like Blackhawks is going to have a good offensive side of the game tonight, and I'm going to go 3-1 Blackhawks. I don't think it's going to be too much of a high scoring game. I don't think our offense is really going to find the puck again. Just like I said, you just got to have consistency. Maybe they cleaned it up this week in practice. Who knows? I'm going 3-1 tonight with Blackhawks.
Yeah, I like what you said there. The Coyote team we saw versus Seattle, the effort, the heart, the resilience, the fact they moved into the third period and they came back in the final 5 minutes of that. They showed heart all the way through the game. The team that we want to see is represented well in that one game.
Yeah.
I feel like every time the Coyotes come on the television, I'm like, man, where is the team that just played
what
Seattle
happened?
at?
Yeah, what
Where
happened?
did they go? Because that team had a Phil Kessel who was burning on the front end of the four down the ice. I mean, the team came well. They played in their spots. They did their job. They stayed in their lane. They held on to their individual assignments. It wasn't this mix match all over the ice, dudes playing out of their position, trying to do three things at once, struggling getting line changes in. Outside the first line, the breakouts, awful, not clean. The second, third, and fourth line. Seems like we're having trouble getting guys in and off the ice, and 2 minute, 30 seconds,
Taking
guys
sleeping
are staying
powders,
on the
too.
ice. So, Alex, I'm curious to hear it. Haynes came on the show yesterday and then was not yesterday, the day before, and didn't have a prediction for us. But you might have a prediction for us. I'd love to hear it. Your thoughts and your prediction for Coyotes Blackhawks tonight.
I am going to have a prediction. I'm going to say it's going to be 3-2 Coyotes.
Okay.
And the most important thing to me is play in the offensive zone, get some sustained offensive pressure going, keep it out of our own zone. If we can not have to defend 70% of the game like we did against Minnesota, that should help the penalties. That should help the defensive lapses. But at the same time, we just don't have the skill to win very many high-scoring games.
Yeah.
The Seattle game was kind of a fluke for a high-scoring game. For the most part, if we want to win, we're going to need to keep them to 2 goals or less.
Yes.
So yeah, I think 3-2. I think we'll see Chikrin get at least a point tonight. I'm not going to go out and say a goal, but at least
That's funny you say this because I swear and he can attest to it. My prediction was 3-2 Coyotes earlier, and Chikrin finds the net first time of the year tonight.
Baby. Yeah.
Tonight, Chikrin finds the net tonight.
just don't want to jinx them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it doesn't look like it's. I haven't really said he was going to get a goal yet, and he hasn't. So maybe I just need to speak it out into the world and say Chikrin's finding the net tonight.
Speak it to existence here.
So we'll see. We'll see. But I'm right with you. I'm 3-2 Coyotes. I think if this game can go into the third period, 2-1, 2-2, kind of a fight, low scoring fight, play as clean as we can play. Obviously, we've seen over the whole year, staying out of the box is they know they're doing it and it's not going to improve. It hasn't improved yet. So I think the penalties are still going to lurk around tonight, but if we can play longer periods of time in between penalties instead of stacking them on top of each other like we have been doing, I feel like a 2-1, 2-2 game at the end of 2 will turn into a win for us tonight. I'll go 3-2 Coyotes. So obviously we got 3 Arizona backers in here and one lonely Blackhawks fan, but that's okay. Moving forward, I'm gonna go ahead and speak on it. First back-to-back away. Obviously, we have Chicago tonight. Moving to Nashville tomorrow. Predators team, obviously a playoff contender. They look pretty good in the beginning of the year. Moving on to Nashville, hopefully we have some momentum from this game moving forward. It'd be nice maybe to end this 8-game, I think it's 8-game road skid.
Yeah, it's 8-game right now.
8 games where we haven't won on the road. So it'd be nice if we can get this win in Chicago and take some momentum into Nashville. But Alex, looking forward a little bit too much here, but going into the Predators game, how big is the game tonight for this Arizona team to maybe right the train a little bit and have a chance in Nashville?
It's hugely important. I mean, Nashville's been playing really well.
Yeah.
UC Charles looked like one of the better goalies in the league so far this year. Nashville's offense is clicking at a rate that I didn't think they were going to click at this year. All their struggling stars seem to have turned it around. Matt Duchene, Brian Johansson, all of them seem like they're really doing well offensively. So it's the best to try to capitalize on a Hawks team that you can't really say the same about, that struggled out of the gate. Hit them now, get those 2 points, and carry that momentum in tomorrow and build off of good play for once going into tomorrow instead of trying to come back from a loss.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a potential 4-point swing here with Chicago not too far ahead of us. So a lot of opportunity here to kind of close in the gap, maybe not be the worst team in the NHL this year. It might be tank season. I'm not sure yet. I need to see at least 30 games to know for sure. But I feel like we have a lot of opportunity tonight. I don't think the Blackhawks are a bad team. I think they're a team that has not found themselves early in the year yet. I'm glad we play them early. So maybe we can pick up these 2 points. I feel like Chicago can be a dangerous team if they figure it out moving forward. Obviously, starting the season off and having all these issues that you guys have been having, the league kind of coming for you like you're the Astros a little bit. Glad it's not me, but Bailey, your last thoughts, man. What do you look forward to in the Blackhawks season? What are your expectations? I know this is not a Blackhawks podcast, but give a little love to your show and your followers here. What are your expectations for the Blackhawks this year? Realistically, be reasonable. Obviously, a cup's probably out of the picture, but what are your expectations for the Blackhawks? What would you like to see?
Like I've been saying, just better offensive side. Missing too many pucks, turning over the puck when it really doesn't need to be turned over, bad passes. I would like to see a playoff run at least. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but like you said, I feel like Blackhawks have not found themselves yet. Patrick Kane's on a little bit of the slow side right now, but he is getting his teammates involved. But I would like to see a playoff run at least for the Blackhawks.
I think that's plenty realistic, and it starts tonight with beating an Arizona team that you guys should handle on your home ice. 8:30 puck drop Eastern time, hockey night, ESPN Plus, as I mentioned. Bailey, Alex, thank you guys so much for coming on. Alex, part of the Chirpin Yote podcast. Go give them a shout. Go check them out. I just watched one of their podcasts, Howlers and Growlers, two amazing podcasts, fun guys, great guys. Obviously, Haynes and Alex have already been on the show. Great guys, fun guys to listen to, a lot of interesting content. So go check them out. Hawks Talk from my man Bailey. I know nobody watching this is probably going to go watch Chicago videos. I don't blame you, but, go check him out. He's a good guy, great guy, fun shows. Had us on today, so go listen to what we have to say.
Great time.
Interesting time this morning for sure. But I thank you for having us on nonetheless. Thank you guys. You're welcome anytime on the show. Just holler at us. We're still getting things rolling here. 3rd episode. So still got some work to do, but looking forward to moving on here with this podcast and with this community that we've grown to love here in Arizona. So
yeah, I would just like to thank you guys too. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys coming on. And like Luke said, we're just starting out here, so we would like to grow this, and we like that, especially Haynes and Alex. We love that you guys have been on the show already, because you guys have definitely been doing this a lot longer than we have. So definitely enjoy it, and hopefully you guys stick out talking to us, because we'd love your guys' input.
Oh yeah, we're looking forward. Eventually, we'll have to get you guys on the show. We already have hosts, so one at a time, but definitely on the show at some point. Thank you for having me on. Always a pleasure. And we're looking more people talking Arizona Coyotes, the better. We'll look to
exactly
starting up that weekend. So definitely willing to help you out there.
Yes,
absolutely. Much appreciated, Bailey. Thank you, man. Hawks Talk on Twitter. Go check them out. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Let's go Yotes tonight. How about it?
Hell yeah.
Go Hawks, baby.